Namaste, Acharya ji. Sir, I was listening your podcast, and in that you said that Upanishad said neti neti to personify the God, in the God in the personified way, because it is sometimes it's like disrespecting the God, that ultimate Brahm. But in Bhakti Marg, it is said that one first to assume that God, and with the help of Nam, Roop, and Leela, we should try to reach that ultimate Brahm or that ultimate God. So it's both are the somewhere conflicting. So I am follows you also, and I'm following Bhakti Marg also. So I am like in dilemma what to follow and whether to personify that God in that being or not.
See, Brahm is not God. It's a popular misconception. Brahm is not God. So in your question you said that there is a way to reach Brahm or God using this. First of all, Brahm is not God. The objective of all spirituality is truth realization, not God attainment. These are two very different goals. To believe in God, you have to believe in yourself, which is ego. So God attainment can come only when there is a belief in the egoistic self. Who else will attain? Whereas truth realization involves dissolution of the ego, which means you are seeing yourself as fictitious, unnecessary, invalid. These are two very different things. Now proceed from here.
So sir, again had dilemma that where I used to listen Bhagavatam, and here it said that your ultimate purpose of life is to attain that because that is ultimate happiness. That is ultimate happiness, to attain, to know yourself, that you are attaining the
How do you
God you
know?
don't.
How do you know? How do you know?
By reading the Vedantas, by doing meditation, by devoting
Wait,
ourselves to God.
Bhagavatam is not Vedant.
Exactly. No.
So what have you read? What do you know?
So actually, in that I read that the only purpose of life is not like to eating and like to say like up how come or mar jao. It's not like the whole purpose of life, your life. There is a bigger other purposes there, that there is some bigger happiness is there to help others, and ultimately there is something that God to achieve, that like Krishna, you can achieve Krishna by taking his name, by meditating his by Leela. So there we have to assume
Why should you achieve Krishna? Very objectively, I'm just inquiring.
uh, that maybe that he is the ultimate source of happiness.
Okay, so Krishna is ultimate, so you must achieve him, right? Okay, right. And all this has been told to you by Krishna?
No, like whom I used.
No, wait. If Krishna is ultimate, should I listen to Krishna or someone else?
But there is no way to listen Krishna directly, right?
There is the Bhagavad Gita. Instead of that, you are reading a Puran, which is not from Krishna. If Krishna is indeed ultimate, should I listen to Krishna or should I listen to anybody else, even if it's a high sage?
But in Kali Yuga, it is said that that Srimad Bhagavatam.
Who said that? Again, who said that? Krishna said that or somebody else?
Somebody else, of course, somebody.
So why should you not listen to Krishna directly?
So in Srimad Bhagavad Gita also there's a concept of Bhakti Marg also, that they talked about Bhakti Marg, where you had to personify that God.
You don't have to personify. Bhakti is not at all about personification. Who has put these concepts to you? Sikhism, for example, is entirely a religion of devotion. And tell a Sikh that God is a person and he will not spare you.
Not in the person, I'm not saying against a not person in that sense, but someone whom we can love, whom we can devote, whom we can imagine. Because
I'm again saying, Bhakti is not about imagining something. All imagination arises from the ego, and therefore all imagination is just ego fodder. This is a very unfortunate kind of cult that has developed over the last 50, 100 years in India. Not 100 years, 50, 70 years. The cult of imagination. Romantic kind of imagination. By romantic, I do not necessarily mean man, woman. Romantic means pleasing kind of imagination. Think of a pleasing God. A pleasing God, beautiful to look at. Huh?
That what Meera Bai did, that what other Chaitanya.
How do you know what Meera Bai did? Have you really gone into her literature?
I have gone through her pad that she sang for Krishna.
How many of them have you read? How do you know you really understood what she was saying?
That
And in all of this, why are you not talking of the Bhagavad Gita?
since I have not listened Bhagavad Gita to that extent, I had read myself once, and
But then all this discussion is with Krishna at the center, right?
yes, exactly.
And the word of Krishna is Gita. And if Krishna is at the center, then Gita should be at the center. So why is Gita not at the center? If Krishna is at the center, you know what that means? The obvious conclusion. In all this that you are saying, not even Krishna is at the center. It is the ego that is at the center. And it is the ego that looks for an imaginary personal kind of God. When Krishna is at the center, you do not go after imaginations. That's the difference between a real Krishna lover and a lover of imaginations.
What is the correct way? I want.
Why should I tell you? Let Krishna tell you. So go to the Gita.
It's not easy to decode it.
I'm talking to a Krishna lover, I suppose, right?
Yeah, you're
I'm talking to a Krishna lover. And if I'm talking to a Krishna lover, the Krishna lover should be the Gita lover. And how is Gita not easy to decode? The Bhagavad Puran is in Sanskrit, the Gita is in Sanskrit. If you can read the Bhagavad Puran, why can't you read the Gita?
I read it, but I did like it has.
You didn't comprehend it in the first attempt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you really love someone, how many times do you woo him?
Till I don't get attained him.
So if you really love Krishna, how many times would you attempt the Gita?
Till I will get that ultimate thing from that.
So, but you have not attempted. What does that mean?
Sir, it is like I was going to from that Srimad Bhagavatam path itself,
Srimad Bhagavatam, we are talking of Krishna here. See, please. We are not talking of stories about Krishna. We are talking of Krishna directly. Not something about him. Right? Something that emerged right from him, which is the Gita. Nothing comes close to the Gita. Right? We agree. It's an obvious thing. So if I really love Krishna, obviously I'll be going through the Gita 2000 times. And in the light of Gita, I'll then read Bhagavad Puran, Harivansh Puran, many other Purans, and then I'll be able to understand the stories in the Puranic way. Without understanding the Gita, how will you understand the Puran?
In there, they also restricted before reading Srimad Bhagavatam, try to learn Srimad Bhagavad Gita first.
No, not try. Try is a very safe kind of excuse. I tried and I failed. No. You have to have Gita before you even touch any of the Puranic stories. Otherwise, the stories will not make sense to you. You will just misinterpret all the stories.
Is not good to personify Krishna through his stories, through his Balilas. Is it not good? It is not right.
Kid, person is a technical term. Huh?
The wrong term.
No, it's not. Anything that you say is a technical term. You have to understand what person means. Vyakti, person, is a term. And the exact meaning of that term can be known only via Gita, which is Vedanta. So if I do not know what the person means, how will I know the implications of personification?
Means my definition of person is wrong, and which I get.
Exactly. Our definition of person comes from the layman, from the social grapevine. So we say, oh, he is moving, he is a person. There are two persons standing there. That's the way we define a person, right? Now, that's not the way Gita defines a person. When you will understand how Gita and Vedanta define a person, you will be very, very cautious of personifying Krishna. Do you know what Gita says about persons?
Exactly.
So here comes a shocker. A person is a myth. A person is a myth. So if you have personified Krishna, you have turned Krishna to a myth. Now, is that respect or love? See.
But again, to imagine on that great extent, like you say,
Imagination, now we'll come to that word. That again is a technical word. Imagination. Yeah. So what is imagination?
To imagine Krishna in what...
No. What is imagination?
To bring something on our mind level, to imagine it.
And Krishna is way higher than your mind. Right? Imagination is activity of the ego. Subtle activity of the ego. The ego is the doer. Gross activity is seen in external action. For example, this action. Right? When the action is within the mind, you call that as thought or imagination or conceptualization or whatever. So all that is just ego-centered, mental. Now Krishna, by definition, is to be much higher than the mind, right? But if I imagine about Krishna, what have I done? I have dragged him down to my own level. And that is stubbornness of an evil order. I am saying I will not rise to the level of Krishna. Instead, I will drag him down to my level. I think of myself as a person. I'll not stop thinking of myself as a person. Instead, I'll turn Krishna into a person so that he comes down to my level. The fact is, even I am not a person. How can Krishna be a person? Even you are not a person. It is a faulty assumption that you have. It is a fundamental illusion that you hold that you are a person. Even you are not a person. How can Krishna be a person?
But it's a point to start, like in maths also, we assume it, like let it.
And your assumption is always subject to verification, right? And you never assume an answer. But you here have assumed something that is very fundamental. As a solution to a mathematics problem, do you ever write, let's assume the answer is 20? Right? But so the assumption has to be a very superficial thing and always available to verification. But as soon as you say, let's assume Krishna is a person, that's no more an assumption. That becomes a fundamental thing you are starting from. You cannot do that. Please see how the mind works. The ego wants security and continuity. The ego says, I want to remain as I am. And I want to continue being as I am. So what will I do? I'll not change. But I have been told that something called Krishna is great to have. So what will I do? I'll think of Krishna as somebody like me, a person. Whereas the entire purpose of the Gita is to tell you that you are not a person. If you are not a person, how can Krishna be a person? Now see, look at the whole tragedy in this. Krishna is telling you, you are not a person. And you are telling Krishna, you are a person. I don't know whether to call it tragic or comic. Krishna is telling you, dear daughter, you are not a person. Well, you are not even a daughter, because if you are not a person, you can't have a gender. You are not a person. That's what Krishna is telling you. And what do we come up with? We come up with a rebuttal. And that says, no sir, I am obviously a person, and to make it worse for you, even you are a person. So-called Krishna lovers have done this to Krishna. And this entire orgy of imagination and picturization and narrative building and storytelling and this and that, and Krishna is the one about whom not even a word can be said. Instead, we take perverse pleasure in narrating endless stories about Krishna.
So it's impossible to attain Krishna per se, if I think in that sense that okay, I cannot.
Remaining a person, obviously you cannot attain Krishna. If you continue to believe in your personhood, Krishna will remain elusive.
And it's a bit difficult to forget my personhood.
That's the entire objective of all spirituality and the Gita. To help you emerge from this illusory narrative of your personhood. That's the very objective. To help you realize that you are not a person. As long as you are a person, you will keep suffering. Spirituality exists to alleviate suffering. If you are a person, you are suffering. But you want to remain a person, and you are so adamant that you turn Krishna too into a person just so that you can continue to suffer. That's the wisdom of ego for you. The one thing that I cannot give up is my suffering. Suffering, because if I don't suffer, I feel I don't exist. So there have to be some problems, some torture, a lot of pain here and there. Only then I feel I exist.
So what's the correct way if I talk in one or two lines?
Why should I tell you the way? Who is the ultimate?
The ultimate is Krishna, and
So the way told by Krishna is called
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita. So why should I tell you anything? Go to the Gita.
But in Gita, again, I'm saying that there are various marks have been.
So let's start with chapter 1, right? Chapter 1. Don't have.
Should not take that name or naam roop like I am taking.
Why should I tell you? Let Krishna tell that to you. Chapter 1. Arjun speaks so much. In chapter 2, Krishna will tell you where all the names come from. And then you will be in a position to decide whether all this Naam, Leela, Roop, Akar, they are any good. You don't even have to go too far. Chapter 2 itself will settle the debate.
So how in how you don't want to attain Krishna?
I have the Gita.
Okay. Is it sufficient?
If Krishna is ultimate, Gita is sufficient. If Krishna is not ultimate, then you need 4 or 5 other things.
Let me read Gita first, that I'll come to you again.
You may not need to.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.